All right, our next little series of assignments is going to be on the website Canva. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here in just a minute, but I want to go over the requirements of this assignment first of all that are here on this handout. This will be posted on Classroom. So we're going to use Canva as a page layout program. It's really a website, but you can use it to lay out pages and do different things with it. And today, all I'm going to ask you to do is create a page of images. So let's look at what's required. Today, I'm going to want your page to be 8.5 by 11 inches. So it could be 8.5 wide and 11 high, or you could reverse that and make it 11 inches wide and 8.5 high. I'll show you how to do that here in just a minute. No templates today. I want you to start with a blank page, blank white page to begin with. You'll have to put on 7 images that are all school appropriate, and those are going to be images of your choosing. I'll show you some options that you have in just a moment. Got to kind of fill the page, and you have to show planning in the way that you arrange the images. That's a part of this series, folks. You're going to have to show some thought and planning in the way you put things together on the page, because that's what page layout is all about. So here's how the scoring is going to work on this assignment. You'll have to have 7 images. That'll be 35 points, 7 times 5. And the arrangement of the images is also a 10-point score. You can't just slap them on and make it just, sloppy. Up here on the required parts, it says fill the page with the images. So there shouldn't be a ton of empty space on your page when you get done. All right, 7 images, fill the page, show some planning, and that's all you have to do. I have some instructions here about getting started, and I'll show you that in just a moment. And I have some options for you here as well, options that you can do with the photos as you work with them, and those are going to be kind of up to you. You can decide if you want to use these options or if you don't. It's going to be your call. I'll also, if you scroll this page on down, if you're looking at the help page, come on, scroll with me here, help page. All right, being a little slow, but sorry, we're getting there. All righty. There's instructions here about how I would like for you to save your file when you're all done, but I'll show you that when I get over to Canva. So let's hop over to, I've got Chrome running here. I'm going to open a new tab. I'm going to go to canva.com. All right, take a look at that address. It's not Canvas. Be careful about that. It's canva.com. Look at it, look at it, look at it. All right. Now, a lot of you may have used this website before, and if you have, some of your previous experience will be helpful. Now, this is up here on the top right-hand side. This is where you'll have to kind of make a little bit of a decision. It might give you this option right here. Continue, like for me, it says continue as John, because I've used it before, right? So I can just click in at that. You can also just sign into Canva with Google if you've never used it before. If you get this option to continue as you, then yeah, do it. If you have to sign up, if you've never used it before and you have to sign up, you can click that sign up button and just continue with Google. That's what you'll want to do. But if you have to log in, right, you'll continue with Google. Whichever it is, whether you're signing up or logging in, doesn't really matter. Continue with Google. And it may ask you to verify, hey, is it really you? And yes, it is. And okay, bingo, there, we're in. All right, so once you're in, whether you have to sign up or whether you just log in and continue with Google, no matter which way you do it, our next stop is going to be on the top right here, and what I'm going to say is go up to this button on the top right-hand side that says Custom Size, click it, and here we have width and height. Now, this is where you can do 8.5 for the width and 11 for the height, and inches. Right, look at that. I want inches. I want this to be on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Okay. So I'm going to say 8.5 and 11 inches right there. Oops, now I'll have to go back and change these because it was doing them in pixels there when I first started. So 8.5 and 11, there we go. 8.5 by 11 inches, or you could reverse those numbers if you would rather have it turned sideways. If you would rather have the width be 11 and the height be 8.5, that's okay too, but that's not what I want. I want 8.5 by 11. So whichever way you want to do it, make sure it's inches and make sure it's 8.5 by 11, and you could reverse it if you want to. Create new design, bingo. Next thing I would encourage you to do is right up here on the top right-hand side where it says Untitled Design, click in there and give it a name. What are we doing today? Page of images. All right, so I'm just going to call it that. Give it a name that you're going to recognize. Bingo. All right, so now we have a blank page in front of us, and you have to fill it with 7 images that are arranged with a plan in mind. Now here's an option that you have. Over here on the left-hand side, you could go to background if you would like to add a background. Now, if you happen to use like an image as your background, that does not count as one of your 7. Did everybody hear that? If you use an image as the background, it does not count as one of the 7 images in this assignment. What I'm going to do is go to gradients. I kind of like gradients, but you don't have to do gradients if you don't want to. I'm going to use this kind of light blue and darker blue. It's not dark blue, but a light blue and darker blue gradient. So that's what I'm going to do for my background. You do whatever you want. All right. Now, the next up, we get into options about, so you have to put images on here. Okay. Well, you could go to Elements over here on the left-hand side. Go to Elements, and then go to Photos. And you might want to click See All. And there's the library of photos that's available on Canva is massive. There's a whole bunch of things here. But if you want to theme your, if you want to theme your page of photos, if you want to have photos that all kind of have something to do with each other, you can search for a keyword right up here. Search photos, and I'm going to do, you can see, I should have showed you the one I've already done, but that's all right. I'm going to do coffee. Boom. I want images. I like coffee. Okay, so that's going to be my theme for this little project that I'm going to do. All right, so I've got all of these images of coffee, and they're just going to load up here. Got tons and tons and tons of them to choose from, right? Well, I have to have 7. So let's begin, shall we? I'm going, and this is click and drag or click, right? You can just click. And now this is where it gets into the whole idea of thinking through your arrangement. You have to put 7 images. No, don't put 8. I don't want 8. All right, this is not a day where you can say, well, I'm going to have more. I don't want more. I want 7. Partly because it makes you plan out 7 images. All right, so I've got one on there. Yay, cool. So I better be thinking about how am I going to arrange these? There have to be 7. Right? And they have to be, there's going to be a plan, and you can't be sloppy. So you have to kind of think it out a little bit. Okay. All right, cool. So let's go. Let's get another one. I like this one right here. Now, if you ever happen to see over here on the left-hand side, when you're looking at the images, if you ever happen to see an image that has a little crown on it, it says Pro, don't use those. You have to pay for them. So don't use anything that's marked with a crown or it says Pro. We don't have Pro accounts. I don't want to worry about Pro accounts. We're just using educational stuff or free stuff or whatever. So don't use anything that says Pro. All right, so I'm going to take this up here and I'm going to drop it in there. Now, if you'll look carefully, you'll see these little kind of purple lines that pop on here. They're like, sometimes they're dotted lines, and they're helping you like line things up. And that's part of not being sloppy. Right? If you move this thing around, so you see how it's kind of showing me when I have those like lined up with each other, and if one of them's a little bit bigger than the other one, I could make them the same size pretty easy because I get those little dotted lines that pop in there and they're helping me out. Now let's get into a few options that you have, and this is where you don't have to do this stuff if you don't want to, but you can. You can click on Edit Image right up here. And it gives you things like you can adjust the brightness, contrast, and saturation. It gives you things like filters. I'll click See All. Look at that. This is a little bit like Instagram, or gosh, what was the Visco? Is that the one that was so popular a while back? Right? You can do all these filters with your images. And if you want to, you can. I'm not requiring you to there. I just added that filter called whimsical to this image over here of the coffee. So if you want to add some filters, feel free to do so. I'll hit the back arrow here and I'll select another image over here. And there's also a collection called Photogenic. All right, so I could click See All on Photogenic. And I have these natural and warm and cool and vivid and soft and vintage and see all and color pop. Wow, those are wild. But you can use them if you want to. Right, they're in there. If you would like to use them, then feel free to use them. I just put this Vinto. It's kind of a filter, right? But it's in a different section. So you're welcome to do these kinds of things. There's some shadows you could add. You can totally do that if you want. All right, so let's go back out here to elements where I was, and I want to get my my photos back up to coffee, and because I'm probably going to need a couple more photos. Now I do want to show you another way that you could get a photo if you want to. I could open a new tab on my browser. I could click images. I could search for coffee. And I've got all kinds of responses that have come just from a Google search, right? So let's say that I find one that I like. All right, so I'm going to get this whole big thing of coffee beans right here. So I'll do a right click and I'll do a save image as. And if you're doing this on your Chromebook and you do a right click and a save image as, it goes onto your Google Drive. That's where it gets saved. If you're doing it on a desktop computer and you do a right click and a save image as, it's probably going to go wherever you tell it you want it to go, like downloads or whatever folder you tell it to go to. So this it's called Basically Coffee. That sounds pretty good. All right, Basically Coffee. I'm putting it in my downloads folder and I'll click save. All right, let's go back over here to Canva. So how do I get that? Right, that's one. It's not coming out of the Canva library. It's one that I saved myself. So how do I get it? I go over here to Uploads. I go to Upload Media. I go look in my Downloads folder. There's Basically Coffee right there. Open it. And it's in this collection of uploads and you can see some other things that I've uploaded on other projects. So I'll just bring this over and drop it on. Yay. Now I'm going to do something else with this one. I'm going to crop it. All right, you can do that if you want to. And I'm going to use the crop handles here too. I want to make this a little bit thinner. I want this image to be a little thinner and wider like that. And I'll say that I'm done cropping this. And now I might take it and stretch it out some. I made the image a little thinner by cropping it. I'm going to bring it right up here and tuck it in there. And all right, so how many images am I up to? Oh, 3. All right, I want to show you something else you can do if you would like. You can go back here to Elements, and I'm going to hit the back arrow on Photos here and scroll this down to where it's showing me frames. And frames are kind of fun if you want to put your images into what Canva considers to be frames. All right, so I'll say See All, and there's a whole bunch of these like preset shapes here, right? Okay, all right. Well, so maybe I decide, I don't know, I'm not going to do anything too terribly like crazy here or anything. But I might grab a frame that looks like, ooh, there's letters. You could use those. Those letters in the alphabet are kind of fun. But remember what I said, you have to plan, right? You have to put things on the page like you intended to do it, and not just a whole bunch of like, oh, I'm just going to slap it here, I'm just going to slap it there. I don't want that. All right, so I think maybe I'll go with something kind of like this rounded corner thing. I kind of like it. All right, it's not fancy, but I kind of like it. All right, so I'm going to bring it over. Sorry, I didn't get it over there. All right, so I'm going to bring over that rounded corner frame, and then I'll go back here. I'll hit the back arrow and go back to my photos, See All, and get back to my search, which was coffee, because I want coffee pictures. All right, and let's go with something that looks like, no, I don't know, I'll make a quick decision. I'll do that one. And then I'm going to take this photo and drop it in to that frame. See what I'm doing here? I'm dropping it into the frame. And then I'll click on that frame and just size it to fit the way I want it to fit. I'm working on a plan here. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. All right. Okay, I'm up to 5 photos. So yes, no, I'm up to 4 photos. All right, so I'm going to finish this off pretty quickly now. I'm going to go find another photo that I feel like I want. This one looks good. And I'm going to size it down here a bit and bring her down in here and kind of work it. I'm trying to make an arrangement that is going to look decent. Let's bring that in just a smidge. Bring that up. It's helping me see when I'm aligning those centers. And I think I like that. Okay, I've got 2 more to go. So let's go find a couple other photos that I can pop in here real quick and finish this thing off, right? So I'm going to bring this, got a smile in the phone, so I'm going to bring that one down in here. And I'll make it just slightly larger, line it up over here. Got 1 more to go. Let's see, this image with the laptop. I'll use that. So we'll bring that down in size just a little bit. I'm going to have to make that fit. Now, I do want to show you something here that you could do if you want. In fact, I'll do it with some of my bottom images here. Okay, I'm making some of my images overlap. Right? They're overlapping a little bit. Now, you can do that. And one of the possibilities here is maybe you're thinking, well, but I want this one to be in front of or on top of the other one. Right now, this one's kind of on top of that one, and maybe I want it just the opposite. I want this one to be on top of that one. Okay, well, click the one you want and go up here to where it says Position, and I want to bring that forward. All right, and so still didn't get it all the way where I want it to be. I think I want that to be like on top of all of them. So I'm going to bring it forward again. Oh, there we go. So I can keep clicking. Now it's like it's the one in front. And I might even make this a little bit bigger now that I've got it tucked behind here a little bit. All right, okay. I don't know if you like my arrangement. You don't have to like my arrangement. I like my arrangement. I'm getting there. I'm getting to where I like what I got. Okay, I'm going to make that a little bit wider like that, and I've got it tucked in on the bottom. And so I've got some overlapping images, and I've overlapped them kind of in a manner that I want by using this position button right here and using things like forward, backward, to front, to back. You've seen that kind of thing before. All right, well, hey, I'm starting to get pretty happy about what I've got here. I showed you that you can use things like the edit image. You can crop. You could use those frames that are available. You can use position if you want to. But what you have to have is you have to have an arrangement of 7 photos that are all kind of worked out according to a plan and spaced out kind of nicely, and they look halfway decent when you get them all put together. Okay, which is what I'm going to make. One minor adjustment here. Okay, I like that just a little bit better. And then now we're to the point of saving. Okay, so now what you got to do, and this is what I'm going to ask you to do. I mean, you may have used Canva before and you know other things, but I'm going to go over here to this download button because I just want you to turn that image in. Once it's built, I want you to turn that image in. So I'm going to download it. All right. And it's going to come up here suggesting, hey, would you like to have a PNG? Sure, that's fine with me. Sounds good. Okay, there's other options there, JPEG, PDF. Those are all okay, but I'm just going to keep it as a PNG. Sounds good to me. All right. I'm going to download it. And if you're doing this on a Chromebook and you hit download, it'll just put it on your Google Drive. But if you're doing it on a desktop computer and you download it, it will put it into your downloads folder. So then when you go to Google Classroom, now you have to turn this thing in, right? So when you go back to Classroom, you would go to the assignment and you would hit the plus button and you would do File, Plus, and File. And then if you're on your Chromebook, you can just go to your Google Drive and you'll find it there. Or if you're on one of the desktop computers, you could just go look in the Downloads folder and it should be there. And you can turn it in. All right, so this is the kind of thing that we're shooting for. I'll go back home here and show you my Here's the one that I prepared ahead of time for the same kind of idea, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 images that are on the page and all arranged the way I want them arranged. And you can see that I used some of the frames that were available and some of the filters that were available, and I found a few images that had transparent backgrounds, and all right, whatever. Right, there it is, my nicely arranged 7-image file, and that's what you're going to be making today. Your turn.